Come on, Dr. Wayne, get in here.
Is he here? Preston Votes, live coverage of the Preston by-election. Brought to you by the Eastern Shore Cooperator. Richard Bell.
Good evening. I'm Richard Bell. I'm the editor of the Eastern Shore Cooperator monthly newspaper, and I want to welcome you to this evening's coverage of the Preston by-election. The polls closed everywhere except one polling place that was delayed earlier today. So we won't be getting any numbers until 8:30. When they finish closing at the final polling place. And once the numbers start coming in, there'll be a nice stream up on the screen that you can follow as the numbers come in. We have a very special panel with us tonight to talk about the issues and the returns when they start coming in. First, all three of them have served as MLAs in this seat. Starting with Wayne Adams, who was first elected as a Liberal back in 1993, and then Yvonne Atwell, who served with the NDP and was elected in 1998, and finally HRM Councillor David Hendsbee, who served one term from 1999 to 2003. So I'd like to ask them to start off the evening to just talk a little bit about what life was like when you were in office. Maybe we'll start with Wayne, since you were the earliest here.
The best part of the 1993 election for me would be the night of May 25th, 1993, the night we won the election.
Okay.
That was the real excitement part, the fun part, and the joyous part of the whole thing, but reality set in when we got appointed to cabinet and started the work. And it was a harsh reality.
You were environment minister, is that correct?
Well, my last go around was environment and emergency measures. Before that, it was public works, known then as supply and services.
Okay.
And we had a few other portfolios as well.
Yeah.
Harness Racing Commission, the Boxing Commission,
Okay.
a couple of other secretarial positions, and then we moved into environment,
Yep.
emergency measures, Queen's Printer, public service, Communications Nova Scotia. So we had a handful.
All right.
And pleased to have had the handful.
Yep. Okay. Okay, Yvonne, you came next.
I came next, yes. I believe, if I remember correctly, I think the election was in February. Very cold, 1998, I can remember that. Also, as well, I mean, the evening that I was elected, of course, was very exciting. Sort of over the top for me, because I didn't really expect that. But I did prepare a little bit by buying a new suit, just in case. So I did get a chance to wear it. Yeah, those were memories that, parts of memories that still stick with me during that whole time of preparing, because it was so new. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I was committed, and I was excited about the possibilities.
And you were sort of breaking a new barrier there in the legislature,
Absolutely.
too, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a short period that I was there. It was only like 18 months.
Right.
But being in opposition, a time of learning in opposition. So that was a good time, as well as maybe not so good time.
Yeah.
But you learn as you go. So this is what's exciting about this election, is that it's moving from way back when, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, to where we are now. So, yeah.
Okay.
We're not one at a time anymore.
Right.
We're not one at a time anymore. It was me, then it was her.
Right.
Now we got a field, so
Yes.
it's going to be more interesting.
Yep.
Well, I had the glorious opportunity of following these two historic figures. Like Wayne Adams was the first African Nova Scotia to be elected to the legislature, and Yvonne Atwell was the first woman of color to be elected to the legislature. And then I was able to follow afterwards on July 27th, 1999 is when the election was, when the minority government at the time was defeated on their budget and went to a summertime election. And I remember those campaigns were about education and stuff like Sydney Steel, closing and selling Sydney Steel off, and healthcare issues were topics of the day. And we also had that time dealing with the nurses' strike, and we had to bring legislation, try to bring the nurses back, and that was a very tumultuous time. And also the debate started in 2003. Some of the issues at that time were car insurance. Should there be a public car insurance program? As well as Sunday shopping was a topic that was starting to come to mind. Yeah, the election was great in July 1999, but in 2003 I lost by 50 votes on election night. So we used that particular election was, I believe, in late August, and the first time we used the new federal voters list, and there was a lot of mistakes and a lot of information missing. A lot of voters were leaving the polls instead of waiting in the lineup to vote, and I said, please stay and vote, and I said, it's going to be so close, and it was close. 35 votes election night after the recount is 50 votes, so it was a heartbreak, but it gave me an opportunity to go back to City Hall because my political career started after Wayne Adams got elected. He was the county councillor for District 8, Preston Lakes, so that position became empty, so I ran the county election back at that time in 1993, and then had the opportunity when I lost in 2003. Keith Caldwell was the MLA at the time for the district of the District 8 at the time, District 9, the combined area for Preston, Porters Lake, and Chesapeake. And so I ran in that by-election and have been there ever since.
Okay. This election there was a new form of voting in this election, what they called e-balloting. Now, it wasn't really online voting, but you would go into the election headquarters and they would give you a tablet. You would then go into a private space, you would vote on the tablet. The tablet would produce a piece of paper that would then be put into a box. And those votes will be counted very quickly, we believe, tonight. But it isn't really online voting. Did any of you all use this method?
No, I was the third vote in. I used the old paper ballot. They didn't have the pads ready at that time,
Didn't have
so.
the pads, okay.
Yeah, I used the pads.
You did, and what
Yeah.
was that like?
Well, it was fast. But one of the things I noticed with the pads is that, you could change your vote, of course, when you're in there. But also it's the fact that one of the things that if people couldn't really read or understand, there's no way of doing things, especially when there's a question asked, like, do you want to change your vote? So I found that a little bit off-putting. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know some of the older folks still might have had a bit of a struggle with that. Right? Even though it was, pretty clear, but still, it was something that maybe some folks weren't really used to, using the technology that way.
Well, I noticed according to Elections Nova Scotia, there were a total of 11,125 potential voters this time. And as of today, this morning, 2,166 people had already voted using either a write-in ballot or using this e-ballot mechanism. So does that seem like a lot? That's almost, 20% of the vote before.
Trying to recall the last election, I thought there was 3,000 in advance.
Okay,
So it's pretty close, I would think.
pretty close.
But in a by-election, you don't get the excitement of a general election across the province, so it's a little bit of a lower turnout. Plus, it's a summertime vote, so how many people are on vacation and stuff.
Right.
It's a difficult time to have a campaign in the summertime. I wouldn't want to try to do a winter campaign that Yvonne went through, but I know in the summertime there are some hot days out there on the hustings, and if you didn't stay hydrated, you're sent to a cold, dark place to keep cool and get yourself refreshed again, because we had some wonky weather. We had wet days and we had some hot days, and it made it very difficult for campaigning.
Very challenging. I remember the campaign of '98, it was cold.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
it was very cold.
We still have a few doorsteps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some of the issues that we know were being discussed on the campaign trail. There were two forums, one in East Preston and one in North Preston, where the candidates all appeared. One of the issues that kept coming up was the issue of resolving land titles and the long history of trying to get that to happen.
Right.
Yvonne,
Yeah, I know that's been around for a very, very long time. And part of the reason maybe is because I live in East Preston, and it's always been a struggle with the land out there. You know, I was fortunate to have a family that took care of their property. But I know many people that struggled with that. And not just that, but there's lots of land out there, and we need to do more in terms of how to protect the land out in the Preston areas. And I don't think a lot's being done at this particular time on how to do that. So I think it's a community issue that needs to come forward. And hopefully with this new group of folks, that some of that we'll be able to have some of that discussion moving forward.
I didn't get to the debates, but I would agree with the land titles being an issue that has to be dealt with. It's being dealt with, and more so now than in the past. I know in '72, I found out I didn't have title to the land I paid taxes on. So we had to go for title search and then get clear title. It took from '72 to probably 20 years to get that done.
Wow.
At a great expense. And right now, the community has the darling spot of having government assistance to foot that bill. So it's a good heads up, if you will.
Right.
But we have to come together and manage our ownership much better. And hopefully that will follow the clearance of title.
The following land titles is also the issue of housing has been also on the doorstep a bit, especially in the urban areas of the riding because of population growth in the metro region. There's a lot of pressures on trying to find housing, more new building going on in the area and stuff. So affordable housing is becoming an issue. I know now that the federal government, with the housing assistance they're providing to the provinces and municipalities, now we can go and do some more outreach to the communities. I'm looking forward to whoever the new MLA is going to be, is that we can work with our partners, the Preston Area Housing Fund. There's one example. There's some Crown land holdings in the riding that can be easily utilized for housing on the Lake Eagle Assembly area. And there's also, municipality has a couple lots that are available that we can probably build projects on. So I'm looking forward, whoever the new MLA is to move those projects forward.
Okay. Then there's the dump, the construction and demolition dump that has been pending in Lake Echo for years now. There was a long fight over a zoning at the HRM level, and then it's sort of been on hold ever since. But I understand that there's now some movement, and that sort of precipitated the discussion and the arguments over election signs that have been taking place.
On that matter, the construction demolition processing facility, the Harbor East Marine Drive Community Council voted against the application unanimously a couple of years ago. But the proponent, Cayenne Management, decided to appeal the decision and went to the URB, the Utility Review Board, and the URB overturned our decision. So now it goes back to the municipal realm again, and the gentleman has to make a zoning setback variance application, and that's coming back towards the Community Council again in September, I think, or September 7th, I believe it might be on the agenda for the Harbor East Community Council. But the issue here, though, is that the province, some candidates try to make it a provincial issue by saying that the governments haven't done anything. Well, the Liberal government had an opportunity to do something, and they're asking the Houston government to do something. The problem here is there's no formal application being made yet by the proponent for the C&D site. Once an application is made to the provincial government for licensing of an operation of a C&D site, then the province can step in. But beforehand, this is a private property matter, and until that can be dealt with, until an application for a permit is submitted, then the province will probably step in.
Well, I believe there's been discussions over the years within all the communities, not just Lake Elko, Porter's Lake, East Preston, North Preston. I think at one time the group came together to fight that issue. And I don't know, at some point, I don't know if it got dropped. And I think it's the same issue that we're
is.
talking about, the same issue. And it's not the same issue?
No, the
Okay.
first one, that,
First one was municipal landfill.
the Site
Okay.
H, the Site H landfill battle we had
Pebbles.
in the Preston,
Okay.
Preston Barrenlands.
It's
Yes.
still garbage though,
Yeah.
right? No matter how you look at it.
Well,
And
one's a resource and the other is a garbage.
oh, yeah, I guess you can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I know people are still unhappy about it.
Right.
The little that I know about it, community folks are unhappy about it.
Right.
So,
Right.
So there's kind of hope that, if an application does move forward, like I've been advocating to the provincial government, expropriate some land from the municipality. If the province doesn't have any available land in the industrial park, take some from the municipality and do a land swap with the proponent. I've been advocating for that for years, but the Liberal government at the time did nothing about it. Mr. Keith Gallo was the MLA and senior cabinet minister. He had ample opportunity to do it if he wanted to, but he didn't do it. He just sat on his hands. But now it's coming back to us and at the municipal level again. And during this recent campaign about dump the dump signs, saying the Houston government did nothing. Well, question is, why didn't the McNeil government do anything about it?
We did. My government. In fact, we legislated them to commercial industrial sites. And this one is apparently not on any industrial site.
Do you remember in any of your campaigns or any other campaign where Elections Nova Scotia stepped in and said to one party or another, you can't say what you're saying here?
Not to my knowledge.
Has that ever happened before?
It may have before my time, but not during my time.
I can never
I've never
recall
heard
it.
of it.
And the ironic part of this dump sign issue is that the opposition has put on signs saying, vote to stop the carbon tax, federal jurisdiction.
Right.
So they're both guilty of the same infraction.
It just seemed, I know that that the law talks about the character of, not saying things about the character of one's opponent, but this was a fairly specific issue, not about people, but
That's
about
right.
the location
Exactly.
of this
Yeah.
dump arrangement.
They're both equal.
Right,
Yeah.
right, okay. We're still,
Polls are just closing.
Polls are closing.
Healthcare is a big issue
yes. Yeah, we've
in the
heard a lot of that.
community. You know, we have a health clinic in East Preston.
Right.
And we don't have a doctor. And we have no doctor at all at this moment.
Right.
We had a doctor part-time, and we had a nurse practitioner part-time. Now we have none. And this has been going on over the years, where they come for a little while, and then they go. So I don't know, I know there are plans for all this healthcare stuff in terms of hiring people and all of that. But at the moment now, we seem to continue to go in circles around issues in the Preston communities anyway.
Right.
And I don't know what it's like in Porter's Lake. I know this clinic up there, it's hard now to do walk-ins and those kinds of things that you used to be able to do. But I don't think you can, it's just very, very difficult.
There was a family doctor there, is what people have said at these.
Well, yeah, we've had several family doctors over the years. They just come and they go, right? For whatever reason, usually they're part-time, or the last ones, they were like retired doctors that were part-time, or a nurse practitioner who would fill in. But my understanding, the last time I tried to get an appointment, there was nobody there.
Nobody was there.
There was no. And I said, well, you know, go to a walk-in or go to emergency.
Okay. So the province has spent some money on the Eastern Shore further east at a doctor, what they call doctor retention and doctor recruitment programs. But I don't know that any money has gone to the clinic here.
Well, I know that there's been attempts made in regards to getting more doctors in rural Nova Scotia. I know the Muscatava Harbor area, as well as Sheet Harbor, they're trying to do doctor recruitment, doctor retention because of the rural nature. You know, we had problems in the past with the federal government declaring that Sheet Harbor was part of HRM, saying it's part of the urban area. So the healthcare opportunities for tuition relief and student loan relief wasn't available to those who want to serve in the Sheet Harbor area, where you
Right.
could get eligible for those in Pictou, which Pictou has a larger population base. But we finally got those things changed, and hopefully over the next year, we'll probably see some results of those opportunities for forgiveness of student loans for nurses and doctors on the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
Okay.
Still no,
We're getting
let's
results?
see.
Some
we're
numbers in
getting
so
some
far.
early numbers here. With,
Twyla 1,028,
for Twyla gross,
Yeah.
Coulter Simmons
Coulter
509, Carlos
Simmons,
Simmons
441,
441, Bobby Taylor 49, and Anthony Edmonds 45.
okay. So that's with 3 of 29 polls reported. And I think we're going to start to see this
Should start to roll
information on the
pretty soon.
screen here too.
I just wish they would start showing which polls have been reporting. It'd be kind of nice to have an idea of what neighborhoods have
coming
been
from.
voting.
Yeah, that would be good,
So
yeah.
it says this is 3 of 29, we have no idea where in the district they are. But I'm
Right.
pretty sure the headquarters will have their own scrutineers at each of the polls. They would have those numbers at the party headquarters. You know, I know the Twyla's set up across the street here at the Henry
Yes.
Bald Center.
Okay.
I don't know where the other candidates are, but I believe that they would know the poll-by-poll results, but we don't get to see that here publicly
Right.
on the website.
Right. Okay. Okay, so we can't tell from looking, this is only 4 of the 29 polls reporting, so it's hard, as David is saying,
The others,
if you don't know where the votes are coming
we
from.
don't know where it's coming from, but
Right.
they're all the same pretty much.
Right.
You know, 4 of 29.
What's going on. Did any of you go out with the candidates door to door? Did you do any door-to-door work?
Yes, I did. I took Twyla through my neighborhood there in Lake Major, and we had a very good response on the doorsteps. And I can say that on the amount of signs, there are 12 signs on the street. 2 of them were Bobby Taylor's, 3 of them were Coulter Simmons, and the rest are all Twyla's. And I was very happy to see that.
All right.
Your own neighborhood.
Yep, my own
Of
neighborhood.
Of course.
You trained them well.
Not one liberal side of my neighborhood.
Right. Okay. I think we just had on the screen, there was a list of the first 4 of the 29 poll. There we go. So you can see from left to right on your screen, on the left-hand side, it's the most votes going down to the least. So that's where we are right at this minute. It's hard to
Yeah.
know whether this is surprising or not.
It's kind of hard to tell, like I said earlier, with the polls, like first,
Where's that coming from?
Dartmouth East has polls 1, 2, and 3 that was closed late tonight at St. Thomas More. Polls 4, 5, and 6 that served Montague Gold Mines, Montague Estates, Humber Park, and Lake Loon was held at the Emmanuel Baptist Church on Montague Road. The largest poll locations was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 polls at the Legion up here on Main Street. That was for Cherry Brook, Lake Major, Little Sand River, Ross Road, Sunset Acres, and Westfall. So that's the largest poll location.
Okay.
Then East Preston had 2 polls, number 15 and 16, and that was held at the Father's Love Sanctuary, which was the former MLA's office in East Preston. North Preston had 2 polls, polls 17 and 18 at the North Preston Rec Center. Lake Echo had 6 polls, 19 through to 24 at the Lake Echo Community Center. And Mineville had 2 polls, 25 and 26 at the Lake Echo Fellowship Baptist Church in Mineville on Peter Court. Plus you had the returning officer's poll itself.
But we don't know what the results are. for
Exactly, we
those
don't know
No.
exactly. We won't see that probably till later on when they to get all the polls closed and confirmed, and they might show a poll-by-poll result at that time. But I know the political parties themselves, they have the
They have
numbers.
their own counting
Yeah.
going on. Okay. Would this current arrangement surprise anybody? If it held up?
Not at this point, I don't think. Not
So I noticed.
from my vantage point right now, but
No,
it's early.
it's still early, yeah,
My
that's true.
my early call was to be a tight race between the Liberals and Conservatives, but
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay?
Yeah, I figured it'd be tight too. Yeah, but I was thinking more of the NDP and Conservatives.
Right, okay.
You wrote those off, did you?
I know in the previous election, Liberals took 43% of the vote overall. And Coulter came in, actually, he was a very close third at 27.9. I
recall that.
Archie Beals at 28.7. So for the PCs to win would be a big switch from
It's the,
that go-round.
it's the opposition's
Yes, it's a sitting government.
election to lose, eh?
Right.
Yeah, it's a unique opportunity. For instance, the Preston riding's been known as a bellwether riding, a constituency. It's always voted with the government except for twice. It was in 2003 when Keith Caldwell won it that night by 50 votes. And that was the only time it was held by an opposition. Then again, in the last election by Angela Simmons. Well, the only two times that the seat has been not held by a government member. So I think this is an opportunity for the constituency of Preston to correct that mistake and vote for Twyla Gross as
Mistake,
the
he
piece.
called it. All is fear and love and war, they
The
say, eh?
NDP won that seat in Preston, remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
In '98.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Now, it's a good argument if you're the candidate and you're the candidate of the government that's got the majority, a solid majority.
Oh, yes, yes.
And Twyla has an opportunity to make history for the PC party. She'd be the first person of color to be elected for the Conservatives, so it'd be great to see that done in the House. The NDP and the Liberals have successfully done that a number of times now, but this will be the first time for the
number of
Tories.
times.
Taking the PCs a little longer to get there then. Is that
But
right?
it's kind of odd though, but there's also the PCs that also advanced a lot of the African Nova Scotia concerns. You know, there was the Ham government that started the African Nova Scotia office. We had the first, the school board that started the African Nova Scotia school board members and stuff. It was all done by the Conservative
We
government.
won't debate that tonight,
David,
but I have some others for you to learn.
David, the election is here. We're not canvassing right now.
No, but just saying that, you know, it was something Conservatives
We have a
wanted to get
future
candidate.
debate.
I might ask you how you all, when the province decided to eliminate school boards, that's had a big effect, I think, all over the province in terms of removing the ability of people at the local level to have much of a say.
Not only school boards. This government also dismantled health boards.
Yes.
That's a big thing.
In Crown agencies, Crown Corporation.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the present government. that has
Present
done that.
government did
Yes.
this, yeah.
Well, it was the Liberal government got rid of the school boards, but the health boards was by the Conservatives, yes. But I think there's also been trying to streamline the bureaucracy of healthcare and stuff. So hopefully they're trying to put more dollars where it's needed. And that's on the floor of the hospitals and not in the boardrooms.
Okay. Okay. There was discussion at several of the candidate debates about a plan that people, it was called a 40-year plan was the way it was described, and suggested that the industrialization of that sort of Burnside was creeping in this direction.
Well, that'd be
that-
municipality, man.
No, that was the department, that's the old Department of Highways, the Cherrybrook Bypass, 107 project.
Yeah, I remember that way back when. Huh?
The properties, the corridor's been acquired, but it has never been a high priority at the time. As I know that when I was the MLA, they wanted to talk about twinning the 107 highway from Mineville into Westfall here, and I was going, why would you want to do that? Because you'll have a bottleneck as soon as you hit Main Street. So what they should be doing is focusing on the Cherrybrook bypass and get that built. But we were waiting for the Sackville Burnside connector to get built, which is going to be hopefully open this fall. And now they're talking about extending Burnside to the new interchange at the top here at Lake Loon, where to service Port Wallace. So whenever that happens, it'd be a prime opportunity for the Cherrybrook bypass to hook exit 17 over towards the top of Lake Loon. That way you would have the 100 series highway traffic bypassing Main Street, because we see a lot of congestion now on Main Street here in the mornings and in the evenings.
All day,
All day, yes, yeah.
especially Gateway.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's also discussion about, used to be a bakery on 107, just before you turn off. to come
Quality
down.
bakery,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which now has become
quality junk.
some sort of
It
a
looks
junk.
like a junkyard.
It looks like a
Quality junk, I
junkyard.
call it.
It's a mechanic shop up there, and it's zoned light industrial, and the property, he doesn't require fencing, and he's allowed to use that type of mechanical shop on site, so he's met all the zoning requirements. It just, that it probably just doesn't look as clean as it should be. Plus, he clear cut all the trees around the property, so he's got a large vastness all around it. But the problem is, it is a bit of an eyesore, but the zoning doesn't require any fencing or no privacy screening required.
But that's not something so that's an HRM
That's a
issue, you're
municipal,
saying,
it's a
David?
municipal issue, yes, not
Not
a
a-
provincial issue.
Yeah, but it looks, it looks, not just looks really bad.
Right,
but-
it's an entrance.
But it's really not very healthy, from my perspective.
In this
because it's
environmental
too-
age, you're right. yeah.
Exactly, and it's very close to those communities. And every day, there seems to be more and more old vehicles piled up there.
Right.
So I don't know how you can get away with it when people can't usually leave trucks and cars in their yard without somebody pulling it off, pulling it away from them.
Okay.
You know, it just doesn't seem right, because this is it's in a community. I mean, there's people that live along those road, that highway as well.
Right.
Anyway, I just find it very distasteful.
What about the sidewalks? Sidewalks are finally going to happen?
Well, in East Preston, we had some federal and provincial funding announcements confirming there would be a Greenway project. There was an active transportation committee struck in the East Preston area, headed up by the daycare center, to try and make safer walking in the community. So the project came about of having a Greenway along the north side of the highway from the daycare center to the rec center. But the original plan required some private property to be acquired, and that met some opposition. Some of the property owners didn't want to give up any properties. Property is very sacred in the black community, and so they had to go back to the drawing boards to redesign it, that they're going to have to put storm sewers, piping into the ditches and cover the ditches over to put the Greenway project in the right of way of the ditch instead of on the other side of the ditch. So that was so they're back to the drawing boards, and hopefully that'll be underway very soon, but we may have to go after our federal and provincial counterparts for a little extra more dollars, because that plan might be a little more expensive than originally conceived.
So David, what's there now?
The road,
Like, I mean, there's something on the edges of the road, that
we
it's not concrete or anything, it's just.
since the municipality took over the roads in East Preston on June 1st of 2022, we went in there and repaired all the shoulders and stuff. We put in a new rack material, built the shoulders up to make it a little more safer to walk. We did some asphalt patching in various places. I know that in Lake Echo, we fixed a lot of asphalt curbs that were damaged for decades and stuff, and did some repairs in Mineville as well. So the municipality has been taking its responsibility seriously in the road repair, and hopefully we'll see some more road paving in the very near future. I can't wait to get the pavement through Highway number 7 in East Preston redone. That's long overdue, and there's also some spots in mind. Right now we have in Lawrencetown, it's outside the Preston constituents, on the doorstep on the Ross Road area, but we have the 207 being repaved now with water shoulders and stuff, but we've had a tremendous amount of traffic jams because of construction on the 207. There's only one way to get around there, is either go around through Mineville or wait in line.
So the asphalt that's down now on the curves of the road, like, it's just enough to walk on? Is that is that the end of it?
No, the Greenway project will be looking
We'll
at
be looking at,
filling in those ditches and putting a walkway over top of the ditch.
okay.
That's encouraging. How far away
Yeah,
is
well,
that?
it's, because if, you
Well,
know,
we're hoping to start, the original plan was to start this year in regards to, but now there's a change in the design plan because no one wanted to give up any encroachment of their property, so we had to, to stay off of private property, we had to go into the right of way of the road, and that means going into the ditches. So now we gotta cover the ditches over with stormwater piping and redesign it.
yeah, because stuff is growing back already.
That becomes a
Some of
higher
the
cost
thing,
to the homeowner.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new area rate coming in, once it's been determined, it'll be $33 per $100 assessment, so.
Well, there was a lot of discussion about the ditch tax.
Oh, don't
Yes.
mention.
And when you don't
mention
have
it.
a ditch,
When you don't have a ditch and you're paying the tax.
like we don't have a ditch.
And whether,
Well, I gotta thank my brother Wayne here, because it was actually Dr. John Savage in Amalgamation in 1996 that started the whole road exchange. Back in the days when the county, the province did all the roads in Cole Harbor and Sackville and Timberley and stuff, but when they amalgamated us in 96, all those urban areas went to the municipality. So therefore, we took over the roads in those areas, and then as a part of that agreement in 1996, as other areas got more populated in density, more territory would be transferred to the municipality, which we see that happen in Hammonds Plains area. And now the third time now we see it from St. Margaret's Bay to East Preston, all going into the urban core. So with that, Halifax has Halifax Water maintain the stormwater system, and with that comes a ditch tax in regards to how we collect money for Halifax Water to maintain the stormwater systems.
but when the province withdraw or turns a road over to HRM, the province was presumably using some of the tax money it collected to take care of the ditch.
That's through the general revenues.
But
be it
the
income-
province hasn't been reducing taxes when they turn the roads over for people. Is
There's
that?
no compensation to the municipality, no equipment, no manpower, no nothing, just passing it over as it was, the state as it is, that's the road condition, we didn't get no compensation for repairs or upkeep or maintenance. So here you are, take it over, and it's up to you now to fix it and maintain it, so that's the issue, but that's a question that the province is gonna have to deal with in regards to, should there be any compensation? Well, the best thing they can do is provide better services for the tax dollars they are collecting.
Okay.
And how best to do that.
Yeah.
We're not getting any growth here in reports.
No, nothing,
In fact, when I look at those numbers, you
They're
mentioned
still the
the
same, aren't
2,000
they?
votes that were in,
yep,
that's the 2,000.
that's it, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, that
Or
looks
even
like
in,
you're,
remember?
that looks about right.
it's just so fast math.
I'll be interested to see how many votes the Green Party get, because Anthony Edwards said during the debates, he didn't anticipate to win, he just wanted to plant the seeds for the Green Party for the next candidate, the next general election for the Preston constituency. So I'm kind of curious of how much he's able to sow tonight in regards to try to have the Green Party have some kind of
Right.
opportunities in the future.
Well, he actually made a somewhat different argument, or it's a related argument, that because it didn't matter who you voted for tonight, you weren't going to change the government, you should vote for the Green Party, was his argument. Or that a vote for the Green Party was kind of a free vote. You weren't going to lose anything, according to his argument, if you liked their ideas. Okay?
That's the same thing with the.
It's amazing theory.
Yeah, it's an interesting, it's an interesting
I
theory.
would almost expect the Green Party to be up and riding all horses, because we're living in an environmental era.
Well,
And you think green would be the way, but just
he
to be
did,
satisfied with planting seeds.
no, well, he did talk a bit about
a little
Tough
late.
with
some
general
policy
election.
issues, and several of the other candidates said they would like to talk with him further about it. But they were issues that they weren't familiar with, and he spends a lot of time thinking about this. But the argument that, I think he was sort of arguing both David's point of preparing the way, maybe, and also for it was an opportunity for him to come and talk about the party. Now, the other, Bobby Taylor, he was more talking about himself. He talked often about him thinking of himself as an independent candidate, as not so much, since he's the only person who's running from this party right now. He sort of is what he is. And not sure he didn't really have that many solid policy proposals, but he spoke very eloquently about some of these problems that we've been talking about tonight, particularly the housing issues.
You gotta have solutions in the conversation.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
and housing is a very tough, very tough thing to talk about anyway in most communities.
Right.
Because people need, it's like healthcare, people need housing not next year or next week, they
Right.
need it now.
Yes.
And I think the lack of forward thinking around that has always been there, regardless of what party you're in, to tell you the truth. There's not a lot of forward thinking about how to deal with that.
Right.
So I think that's, it's an easy topic to talk about and an easy topic to say, this is how we're going to fix it. But in reality, it's much more difficult.
Right. Well, now that one of our Nova Scotia MPs is the federal minister of housing, one would think we might see more happening
I suspect
in Nova
we will.
Scotia.
I would think Sean Fraser has a humongous task with the housing and infrastructure and communities portfolio.
It's a big one.
It's a big one, and I think that, one thing about the federal Liberals, they certainly, picked up the mantle on housing, and they're also going directly more to the municipalities, kind of bypassing the provinces, just to work directly with the municipalities more frequently. It's been something the federal Liberals have done for quite some time now. So we'll see how it works and see how it goes.
Okay.
Well, we got one more poll. We've gone from 4 to 5,
4 to 5.
and the results are no different.
Very little.
I'm kind of curious, so there's 22 rejected ballots and 1 declined ballot, so under,
22 rejected.
Yeah.
Where's that?
it's right here at the bottom here.
David's got the hotline here.
It says probably more data if you.
Oh,
you
yeah,
get the
no, I
button
see
there.
here.
Okay.
Yep.
Where is it?
22 rejected, 1 decline.
There you go.
And turnout is,
Look at that,
okay,
yes.
20.9%. Okay.
Percentage of voters turnout so far, 20%.
Yep.
Sure, that's not the end result.
Yeah.
Well, that's only 6 of 29, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna get probably close to 35, maybe upwards, close to 40%,
I would-
which would
I
be
would hope.
significantly nice
Yeah.
to see in a by-election.
Right.
Sure would be.
Right. Okay.
That means, in spite of being summertime, some people paid real attention. That would.
Well, I think this
Be quite a
time,
message.
I think that this time, the election in Nova Scotia, having the continuous advance poll made a big difference, because in the past, you used to have advance polls only 3 days.
That's right.
Three opportunities. This time, have the continuous voting from the day the writ was called, and when the elections office opened up. You're able to go in there and vote every day except for Sundays. And I think that made a big difference for a lot of folks to get out and vote when they did.
I know you could have voted yesterday,
Yeah.
even though it
Yes,
was
I was
nominally a
surprised.
holiday, but
Yeah.
they,
Plus also good to see that they had shut-in ballots. If you call it, you can call it the returning officer. If you're in hospital or at home and mobilized, they brought the ballot to you. And I think that was a great initiative by Elections Nova Scotia.
I heard that
to get the vote.
advertisement. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I saw some people online on the Facebook pages in the community said, I voted in the hospital, and there's no reason why you can't get out and vote, so.
okay.
How many polls are?
So now we're up to
629. It's only 6 so far.
How many six
still
so
only
far?
6. Okay,
20 more 3 polls to report.
Yeah.
all right. Okay. Another issue that came up at several at the debates was talking about growing more food. And I think Bobby
I'd support that one. Yeah.
that there was a time when Preston farmers made money
Was the provider of food.
selling food
Sustainability?
to the city.
Yeah.
And there was
was-
definitely a lot of, at least in the audience, there was a lot of interest in that idea of, and this goes back to all the, this is not a densely populated area.
Community.
There's
No,
a
it's
lot
not.
of open land left
Yeah.
that could be farmed.
But the
But again, they
issue,
had to regenerate the interest.
yeah, the regenerative interest, the
Yeah.
younger generations weren't into farming. Like, I remember back in my days, I'm probably the youngest one of the 3 of us here, but I remember having
Maybe
gardens in our side yards and stuff like that, and the major gardens we used to have down Lake Major Road, the garden greenhouse business there. We had the Ernst Fields and the farm markets. We had Mr. Riley and his gardens in East Preston. We had the piggeries in North Preston and East Preston. We had the cattle, the livestock in
Try
East
the
Preston.
Home for Colored Children.
And and across the street
That was
we
the
had,
biggest farm in Canada, in Nova
Yeah.
Scotia.
Yeah, so there was a lot of opportunities there, and that's one of the reasons why on the 90th anniversary of the home, we brought back the community garden as an idea to bring back some of that heritage that happened on site. So, but you're right though, we have ample opportunity for farming in the communities. You know, people start doing the community gardens and stuff, and
It's the future, quite
picking
frankly.
up. Yeah.
Well, in those days, you know, as I grew up, I mean, that's what we did. Everybody had a garden and grew
natural.
their own food. It was just a natural thing that you would do to take care of your families because you were isolated. You couldn't get on a bus and go to Halifax or Dartmouth, you know, so you took care of your communities in that way. So, yeah, that was normal and natural, you know, saving food for the winter and all of those things. Now it's a little bit different. They talk about the technology, but somebody still has to,
Operate the technology.
yeah, you still got to operate technology. You still
right.
got to, you know, maybe more fun. And I can see that being something for the future, and I think we need that. But you have to generate more interest. And I'm not sure how we're doing that right now.
So,
Well, 80 to 29 polls, there's not a whole lot of shifting taking place. PC candidate Twyla Gross is still in the lead with 1,107 votes. Coulter Simmons, second place, 635, and Carlos Simmons in third with 538. So we'll watch this slow parade proceed.
yes,
It's not over yet?
yep, yep.
It's very early, yeah.
Yes.
But they're up to 22% voter turnout, which is trending nicely. So.
Okay.
Indeed, yes.
Okay. So when you were running, this was a much slower process, I assume, the vote counting.
I thought it was faster than this, but
Is that right? Okay.
No,
I can't
we
remember.
had the winter in half an hour.
I can't remember.
I remember that part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every ballot was
In
marked by
fact, I thought
pencil.
it was going too fast.
Every ballot was marked by pencil, and everything was hand counted back
Yeah.
in the day.
Yes, yeah.
So, you know,
Piece of paper and a pen.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious how the advanced poll numbers, you know, with the electronic voting on the iPads, the returning officer should have those numbers in pretty quickly, I would assume. The only numbers they had to count by hand were the first couple of days before the pads were there.
Like you and I did the paper ballot.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm kind of curious, though, in regards to
How did you get a few
the
back?
future elections, is will they bring those pads to the polling location themselves? I guess there might be some issues of internet connectivity to make sure they have the ability to transmit that data to a central headquarters. But that'd be interesting to see.
Well, each booth had a pad, so it wasn't like you took your pad in the booth with you.
Oh, okay.
Each booth had a pad.
The pad
and
was
they-
already there.
Yeah, and then you would scan. You'd have a scan on your envelope, so,
Interesting.
yeah. You scan the machine, and the names would come up. You'd vote for the person, and then you'd put the envelope, the paper was already in the envelope, because you scanned it, and you just take it and put it in the box. It was easy. It's really quite easy.
I found this election this time is that Elections Nova Scotia were able to provide each of the campaign teams the voters list in regards to who's already voted. It didn't say how they voted, just that they did
had
vote.
voted.
So the parties who are tracking their supporters were able to figure out who was voted from their target list of supporters. So they're able to get those numbers daily. So that's why you'll probably see a good turnout of voters, because those who are doing the door knocking, doing the canvassing, doing the data tracking in regards to who the supporters may be, if they got any favorable results at the door, they go back a second or third time with a phone call or a door knock to secure the vote. And then if they needed a vote, if they needed a drive to the poll, a drive was made available for them. So I'm sure that the next time the election is probably count a lot faster with these iPads at the polling locations themselves. You know, unlike the municipal elections where we have voting online, it was difficult for a municipal candidate to go knocking on doors while the advanced polls are voting online. I could be knocking on a door, the person's already voted, and I don't know that. But
That's right, yeah.
but these results now with the new technology in Nova Scotia Elections Office is engaging. That should be a lot easier for a lot more people to at least have an idea of who's voted already in advance. So I think we're up to 13 out of 29
13,
polls.
29 polls, we're starting to move now. And
25% of the vote.
the
That's good.
status is the same in terms of where the candidates are, but 25.5% voter turnout, it's growing.
I think it's pretty safe to assume that Twyla's going to win the seat, but it's still early to tell because you got 16 more polls that come in, so we have no idea.
You know where they are.
We don't know where they're coming from,
Yeah.
so that'd be interesting to
you have
know.
to wait and see.
But it would be nice to see if the poll numbers keep trending this way, that Twyla grows to be a cabinet minister in the Tim Houston government, and I think it'd be a great opportunity for the constituency
I
of
would
Preston.
really like to see Coulter. I'll tell you why. I know
Okay.
he's young, he don't have the greatest experience, but the big experience don't necessarily make the best MLAs, to tell you the truth.
Experience comes in the job.
It comes with the job, right? And he's young, and he's passionate, and he's the next generation. He's run twice.
No.
So even if it doesn't happen for him tonight, I'm sure that, he will continue to grow and build himself within the party,
And that's important.
Yes, very important. I love his attitude, and he knows what the issues are, and he's willing to work in all communities around that issue. So however it goes, I think we've got some future folks here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was as a group, it was a very impressive group.
Oh, it's very exciting
don't
too to see
always
so many
get-
people
I was
run.
excited with the
Yeah,
whole thing.
very much so.
Quite frankly, yeah.
Very much so.
So I've seen ridings where maybe there was one person you'd like to see in office, but the rest of them you would wish would go away. So this is not the case here. This is a very powerful group altogether. And they did talk, especially at the last, the North Preston event that they did, which was sort of youth-oriented. But they talked about not walking away from each other when the election was over, which was interesting, and about sharing ideas as opposed to, making fun of each other's ideas or being nasty about it.
Right.
So there was definitely a very strong community building that all of them said they were committed to.
Well, half the polls are in, up to 15 now, 14 more to come.
15, here we are, yeah, we're getting to the halfway point.
Yep.
And we're holding with Twyla in the lead with 1,405 votes. Coulter Simmons with 750, and Carol Simmons with 643.
Don't forget the other two.
Pardon me?
What about the
Bobby
other
Taylor,
two?
74, and Anthony
Anthony
Edmonds is 62.
Indeed. That covers the whole slate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Voter turnout now at 26.43%, so
We may get to 30, eh?
I think we're gonna be going past 30, I think we're gonna be close to 40%. I mean,
Right.
it'd be awesome to see 50.
Oh, well, would it ever?
Yeah.
I don't know. Has that ever
That'd
happened
be quite
in a
be a
by-election?
North American news story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think these numbers show that the new elections procedures seem to be working,
Right.
the advanced voting daily, I think it's a great opportunity.
But this is still, it says e-balloting, but it's not really online in that sense.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because there are issues that have come up in the US, and especially around the way that the last election turned out, where there were questions about whether
Taking Chad.
having your voting machines connected to the internet was a good idea or not. And whether there were,
It can be leaky, can't it?
well, or whether there were vulnerabilities that you couldn't necessarily predict in advance.
Yeah. One thing about a paper ballot, there's no way you can probably, what's the way on a computer, try to affect that by a virus of some sort.
You can't beat a piece of paper and a pencil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's much harder.
That's why I
much
continue my day timer with a pencil and paper. I don't accidentally delete it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now we're up to 16.
16 or 15?
Mine
Here we
just
go.
came
Here
up on
comes
16, so. They're feeding it away. One of the things that was a little confusing around the question of whether Elections Nova Scotia should,
I'm more weary of these campaign promises.
Coulter Simmons is growing in the 18 out of 29 polls. Calder's at 806 now, ahead of Carlos Simmons at 680.
But add
Green
those-
Party at 72 and Bobby Taylor at 80. So there's some growth and development taking place here. Twyla stays in the lead without question. It's 1,499 right now.
1499.
So 28% voter turnout.
It'd just be nice to know, poll by poll, the numbers, just to have an idea of what areas have been voting, which ways, see what kind of patterns, you know, there could be some strong Tory votes, there could be some strong Liberal thresholds, there should be strong NDP areas, so
I'd like to see where the swing takes place. That's,
I'd like to see where the voters are coming out.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, the question about how to regulate campaign advertising, I mean, in the US, there's no,
They can't spell regulation in there.
none at all. People
Just ask
just
Donald, he'll tell you.
make things up and they would almost. be-
Anything goes.
Right,
Third-party endorsements and everything else. It just,
You got a former president who proved that.
there is.
Truth doesn't matter.
He's still banging
You
away
tell
at
a
it.
story.
yeah, the whole fake news became fake news itself.
Right.
You know,
But I think that the Elections Nova Scotia even though they're using a computer to enter the data, that when you still get that paper ballot at the end, is a real guarantee or a great protection against the
It
kind of
is.
manipulations that could go on.
That's right. I remember the days of the Chads in the American elections.
Oh, yes.
Tear a piece of paper off here and I'm thinking,
Yep.
what's wrong with the X on a ballot?
Yeah.
Like we do, eh?
Yep.
Just can't go wrong.
Right, exactly.
It already takes them a long time to count votes now. Can you
Yeah, it's
imagine?
crazy.
Take a whole year.
Well, Richard, you have American experience, an experience in American elections and politics, so you can probably tell us about how the poll results down there, like pulling the lever and how many ballots you vote on one lever poll. It's incredible how they vote down there.
Well, my favorite election slogan from the US was in Boston. There was a mayor named Curley, and his slogan was vote often and early for J. Michael Curley.
Often and early.
Often and early. And he actually was mayor while he was in jail for a while. That he had been elected and then he was jailed, but he continued to be mayor and eventually he was pardoned or he got out. But and the most famous example in American history was Lyndon Johnson's second Senate race. He had lost the first one and he had vowed he would never lose again. And it looked like he had lost. And then a week into the recount, they found a box of ballots, which put him over the top, barely.
Only in America.
And those were paper ballots, but who knows where they came from.
A miracle.
Yeah,
Loaves and fishes.
yes, yes, indeed. All right, what are we up to here?
We
18.
haven't moved for a little while, so we're patiently waiting.
Let's see. We have gotten some questions online, and there's one about Bell Park School and repairing Bell Park School. Does that ring a bell for you, David?
Well, I know they're looking at trying to do some driveway repairs and fix-ups to enter into the school, because right now, all the parents and all the teachers and all the school buses go in one driveway and stuff, so it'd be nice to see if we can find a better approach to get into the school. In regards to the building itself, I know a few years ago they had ventilation issues they were fixing and stuff, and I haven't heard anything more lately than that, so I haven't been through the school lately, so something I'll check into though. So I know we maintain the playground there as well as the sports fields, but the building itself be a provincial matter. I'm sure the new MLA would be asked that question probably tomorrow morning. So.
Okay, if not tonight.
Yeah.
I think she's right across the street from where we're sitting right
Yes,
now.
the headquarters.
her campaign headquarters. Okay, so the questionnaire who sent this in said that the school is in disrepair and needs some serious work, so.
Well, we'll have to look into it and see what it is.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I miss those days.
Yeah, yeah, my grandkids don't go there anymore, they're older, but,
Okay. But I mean, those calls would,
yeah. I know they have programs there in the summer, that they did for a little bit, but, the
How
first
old
month
is
or
the
so.
school? I don't know how old Bell
I don't
Park.
know how old that school is, do you?
yeah, well, when did I get elected? 70, no, that was county council, it'd be 80, 86, 88, in that range.
I'll look it up here in a second.
Okay, good,
Good old Google.
yes. Always helpful. So we're up to 18 and almost cracked 30% on, we're up to 29.8
Yeah,
on the turnout.
yeah, we're doing well on the voter turnout. We've had elections in the past where the voter turnout, as you know, was abysmal.
Very low.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Another issue that came up at some of the candidate forums was the bus service and the difficulties of getting into town, especially to go to work and come home at night.
I'm not a member, but I hear that on a regular basis.
You
Just
do.
let you know, Bell Park was built in 1979,
Oh,
so it's back then.
I was
Well,
just 80, yeah.
Well, Wayne will probably know the early days of transit in the Preston communities.
We
with
introduced it,
Beaver
yeah.
Bank Transit, Halifax County.
Yep.
And we had
Richard, let's take
Transit
a break.
Beaver Bank provided bus
It was
service
almost better.
sorry, say it again?
along number 7 highway.
Let's go to a
And-
break.
And eventually
Okay.
that
All right.
got assumed and taken over by Metro Transit, and we've been trying to evolve the service ever since. We even now have weekend service. Before, it would just be Monday to Friday during peak hours, but now we have it every day of the week. But it's still peak hours and weekends. But I know that bus service is an issue. I've been trying to get the express service to build another park and ride terminal over here at the Mineville, as well as maybe have one when we realign the Ross Road interchange here with Lake Major Road. I'd probably love to see a park and ride terminal there to service the areas. Because right now, the transit communities for the Preston Township areas, we have 4 bus routes, 68, 61, the 410, the 401, and the 370, but they never converge in one particular central spot where you can get off one bus and transfer to get to another bus to go within amongst the community. So it's something that we need to look at doing, and I'm hoping the province will be at the table, provided, they do provide $2 million a year of public transit assistance, but I'd like to see it more directly affected towards the rural parts of the municipality to have better transit services.
It's still not good,
Uh-huh,
especially for young people who try to get to work. You know, if you got to
Yeah.
get to work,
right.
It's
like
2
for
hours.
7 o'clock in the morning, you just can't get there by bus, right? And even if you have to, sometimes you have to walk quite a little ways just to get it. So it's difficult, right? So yeah, it's still not good.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to take about a 2-minute break here.
You'll pay
Let
the
our-
bills, eh?
Let our panel stretch their legs a little bit, get a little bit to eat, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes. All
All
right?
right.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Richard Bell. I'm the editor of the Eastern Shore Cooperator, and we're bringing you this live event tonight, looking at the voting as the votes come in the by-election in Preston. We're up to 23 of the 29 polls reporting. Twyla Gross is at 1749 for the PCs. Coulter Simmons with the NDP is at 948. Carl Simmons with the Liberals at 843. And Bobby Taylor with Nova Scotians United at 90. And Anthony Edmonds with the Green Party at 85. So we're closing in. We're up to 33.41% of the voter turnout. So we're doing pretty well on that front. Looks like we might hit 35 or 36 at least. So what do you think? What's the panel think
I think it's
at this point?
I think it's trending well for Twyla, very well, and I think that with only 6 more polls to come in, I think that she's probably have this well secured. I think the biggest opportunity was for her to have the support of the government caucus to come up and campaign. The premier was out here a number of times from door knocking throughout the riding, as well as a lot of senior cabinet ministers and members of caucus. So I think it was great to have that support all around Twyla to show that the Houston government wants this seat to be on the government side, and I think that the poll results are showing that.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I think that because this is a by-election, there's a lot of time and energy for people to do that kind of work. I mean, the New Democrats, same, lots and lots of people, and I'm sure the Liberals did the same. One
No
election,
question, yeah.
one election, a lot of people involved in it to give their very best for the candidate, so,
Well, and
yeah,
That was on the show with all parties.
yeah, all
Yeah,
parties.
we had the Liberal caucus in full force today, and I drove
Yeah.
into the Simmons headquarters. It was quite awesome.
okay.
And a lot of foot soldiers.
Yeah,
So I think that all parties had a lot of energy exercised for their candidate, no question.
Just to pick up on Yvonne's point, I mean, Jagmeet was here. I mean, the
federal-
federal leader of the NDP did a little campaiigning, is my
yes, he
understanding.
did, yes, yeah.
I didn't see him myself, but I know he was out here, so that was interesting to me that he was willing to
Step
Very
in.
interesting,
step all the way in here
yeah.
to try and help him out.
But that's what good leaders do.
Yeah,
Yep,
You know, across the years, it's always been effective.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. I wonder, well, that's another thing that'll be interesting to see when we see where the vote came from, is what the demographics were and how
That's
things,
what we're
things have
dying to know, eh?
things have changed between now and the previous election. How many new people are here?
We'll have to wait till the paper does the reporting, I guess,
Right.
tomorrow.
Right, exactly. One issue that we haven't talked very much about, but that's come up, it's related to the housing, but homelessness. And that the number of people, rural homelessness in particular, is very difficult for people to see. It's, you don't really see people camped.
Can't
They're
see
not
for the
camped
trees.
out downtown.
Yes, but you can't see for the trees in the rural area.
No, or people are living in their car. I know a couple of people who are living in cars in the Muscatatuck Harbor area, or in tents. And it's sort of a different level of problem because people who are in that situation often are dealing with a bunch of other problems. They have health problems, they may have mental health problems. They're having problems just keeping themselves fed. They're very difficult.
Question is, how do you fix all that?
Well, that's a good question.
It is. It's a question for everybody, quite frankly,
Yes,
beyond government.
right. Yep.
It's got to be a community and government coalition of solutions.
Well, one thing the municipality has done this past year was changed a lot of the zoning across the board for auxiliary suites. Now, if you have the septic field capacity in the rural areas, if you have the septic field capacity to handle another unit on the property, you can do so now by right. Some places didn't have that opportunity, but now we can do that in rural areas, especially in the suburban areas and urban areas where you're on central sewer. There's a lot of opportunity for them to build an in-law suite in the property, or add an additional suite with an additional building, or a suite above the garage. So those opportunities at least give capacity an opportunity to build more housing stock. But the other issue is how are they going to pay for it and stuff. A lot of it's been taking quite a bit of investment. Some families may be looking at this as a way to still live at home and pass the home onto the children, but they can still live in an in-law suite on the property. So it's an opportunity for families to still keep united that way.
These are auxiliary dwelling units that the
Yep.
ADUs?
Yep.
And so you don't need, on a piece of property where you used to only be able to have a single dwelling, you can either add on to it, like an in-law suite, or build a separate unit if you have the
Septic capacity.
to do that. Okay.
Is that attached or detached?
It can be attached or it
Either
can
way.
be detached. It can be either or.
Either way.
A lot of people are looking
That's
at
a good move, I think,
Yeah,
quite frankly.
A lot of people look at doing in-laws or auxiliary suites in the loft of a garage or whatever. Some people are converting garages into housing, so,
And that's necessary.
yeah. Still 6 polls outstanding. I'd like to know where they're at. That's always in that election night. You always want to know where those last numbers are coming from.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I think we know who the winner is.
Well, we're down to 5 polls not reported, up to 24 now reporting.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's a solid lead for Twyla, and I think it's safe to say it's their victory at this point.
Cabinet
You wanna
Minister.
call it?
Cabinet Minister to be.
And
Well, that would be
as I
very
said,
nice
that ain't all
for her.
that bad.
I said, you want to call it?
So
wanna
her
call it?
headquarters, I believe, is across the street from where we are. Think we should get somebody over there? Hope I'm
I
getting-
think somebody should go over there with their cell phone and do a Facebook Live or something.
Well, we have a camera, I think, is that right? Okay. Well, I think it would make sense to, it certainly looks as if she's going to be the winner tonight.
It'd be nice to see what the second and third numbers would be.
Right. But we're hoping to be able to bring at least a couple of minutes, let her talk to you tonight from her campaign headquarters across the road. So
We're sending someone over now.
okay, we've got a camera person on the way over there right now. They'll be.
So the big task tomorrow is the cleanup. You know, we got all those signs to take
Remember
down.
those days, eh?
Yeah. But, you know, it's always easier to take them down when you win, so it should be fun for the campaign team to get up there tomorrow and pick up all the signs and pack them away. Like you said, this is a by-election. There'll be another election probably July of 2025.
years.
So.
Or before.
Just in 2 years.
But it's funny about putting up the signs. I worked on a campaign against David once. And when I drive around the region, I still remember, like, okay, that's where we put that sign. And, you know, because sometimes you can't find a good place, or there's already 5 signs already there from other candidates. And you start thinking about, okay, what's the best possible place for a sign here?
On somebody's lawn.
Well, the lawn signs are the easy ones.
Lawn signs are
It's the ones at the
convictions.
intersections that are the tricky ones.
The ditches can't vote.
Right,
I always tell people that.
right. The ditches can't vote. Yep,
Yeah.
okay. That's
But
good.
you gotta pay for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess one other issue that we didn't, it did come up around there was a little discussion of the carbon tax, but I know certainly a little bit north of here, floods have been a ferocious sort of reminder that something is happening out there.
There's still deniers though.
Yes, no, I know.
There's still some people that deny it.
Really?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Well,
Everyone there
we
is
had
the other
some-
day.
this
In
the other
fact,
day-
the guy cut him off, he was so bad.
well, that rainstorm we just had the other day, we had significant
there was
erosion
2 on
in
that
East
day.
Preston and Lake Echo and in
believe it.
Lawrencetown, so.
Yeah.
We had,
think
you know,
you
major
made
flooding
up.
elsewhere, but we did
You
have
made
some
it up.
major washout problems on some of the
Natural forces.
roadways.
Okay.
Ecology.
So it should be an issue when it comes to infrastructure improvements. Up to 26 poles, those 3 outstanding,
Here we are.
that's just over 35%.
Do you know where those 3 poles are? Does
No,
anyone-
no,
No way.
no.
Say?
Oh, it would be nice.
Yeah. So
Colt-
second and third have turned out to be pretty
Colt-
close.
Yeah, Coulter just broke over 1,000 votes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yay.
Carlos is at 902.
Right?
Bobby Taylor and Anthony Edmonds are neck and neck at 92 and 93 together. But
That's amazing, that's what, yeah.
Twyla's
Kinda
far in
spoiled
lead with
votes.
1,861, with 3 polls yet to report.
Okay. Okay.
%36% voter turnout.
It's good.
We're growing. You may have your 40 after all, David.
Let's see what happens.
3 more polls, it could do it.
So, David, you keep talking about there being a possible cabinet minister. Do you have a cabinet department that you want to see her in?
Well, the obvious choice should be a minister for African Nova Scotia Affairs, would be the first thing. And the second, maybe status of women portfolio is a possibility. I'm not sure.
Minister of Finance would be good.
Well, she has a strong
We're good to
financial
go live.
background,
She's
working with
speaking
years
now.
at the
We're
airport.
good to go live.
Okay, we're about to go live. She's about to speak. Here she is from the headquarters.
Extend my sincere
Speaking?
Can't hear too well yet.
the honorable and I want to thank him for not only entrusting me with this opportunity, but for campaigning with me and knocking on hundreds of doors throughout this world.
I scored mine in one goal.
You know something? He was so excited, I had to run. Someone remarked to me that this was the first time that they can recall a premier campaign in the Preston. When I think about this journey, there are so many to thank. But in particular, I want to give a special shout out to my campaign manager, MLA, the Honorable Barb Adams. I want to thank her for her guidance. And I'm going to tell you something, that Barb was relentless at the doors. To the campaign team, Paul. And I want to tell you a little bit of a story about Paul. I remember when, she first started to talk to me about the possibility of running for the PC party. Do you know what I did? I looked at her and I said, "You must be desperate." She looked at me and she was very serious. And she said, "No, I'm not desperate at all." She said, "You know what? We're looking for the best candidate. So thank you, Paul." I wanted to thank Sean. And sometimes I used to find myself competing with him, but I couldn't keep up. I want to thank Steve. I want to thank Brandon, Julia, whom I ditched this afternoon. I want to thank Neil, Evan, Adam, Logan, and Jacob for their tireless work. I want to thank Councillor David Hendsbee for his advice and support. Also to Gloria McCluskey, as I was driving in here tonight, there was her on the phone. I just couldn't answer. But anyway, I'll give her a call tonight. To all of the MLAs who offered their support by door knocking, encouraging me, giving advice, and just being there. Thank you. Someone once said that a team is like a tool set. Not one tool can do all the jobs, but together it can, and look what we have achieved. You know, there have been so many involved in this campaign team. So to all of you, please accept my sincere appreciation for how you've embraced me, you've supported me, and worked with me. I feel like I'm a part of the family. Wow. To run in the Preston by-election, I tell them, if someone had said to me only a few short months ago that I would be the PC candidate, I would have said, are you for real? Are you out of your mind? You know, I wrestled with this decision. I consulted my family, my friends, colleagues, acquaintances, and even God. And the answer I received was simply, why not? As I said before, that my mom even said, Twyla, for such a time as this. You know, I took her words to heart and believed that just maybe this was my time. Mm-hmm. And you know, things just fell into place. Yeah. It is worth sharing again that in 2013, the PC party approached me to run in the Preston riding for the provincial election. I shrugged it off and said, not me, I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. Following my retirement in 2020, my sister, the late Reverend Tracy Gross, said to me, Twyla, you are not finished yet. Mm-hmm. There is still more work for you to do. So always keep an open mind. Well, who would have ever thought? But here I am. This has been all preordained. Well, so tonight, I stand on the shoulders of family members. I stand on the shoulders of my The one thing that these individuals all had in common was their willingness to serve. Yes. Yes. To reach out and help others. I ran in this by-election because I care. I care about the future of this riding and its constituents. A quote that I often recite by Theodore Roosevelt simply says that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
And I want to tell you that through this campaign, that was true. I've knocked on hundreds of doors from one end of the Preston riding to the other. You see, I spoke with children. I spoke with youth, with parents, with grandparents, with nurses, with personal care workers, with teachers, with educational program assistants, with business people, the unemployed, those awaiting nursing home and daycare placement, those struggling with affordability, those who were tired and felt that no one cared. I had many a sleepless night as I recognized the work that needs to be done and the concerted effort required to move the many issues forward and deliver a meaningful solution. At times, I felt so inadequate, so weary and worn. The tears would flow, and a song that would play in my mind was The Anchor Holds. It holds. You see, I have journeyed through the long, dark night, out on the open sea, by faith alone and sight unknown, and yet his eyes were watching me. You see, the anchor holds, although the ship felt battered. The anchor holds, though the sails were torn. You see, I've fallen on my knees as I faced the raging seas. The anchor holds in spite of the storm. You see, I've had visions and I've had dreams, and I've even held them in my hand, but I never knew they would slip right through like they were only grains of sand. Because the anchor held, though the ship was battered. The anchor held, though the sails were torn. But I'd fallen on my knees as I faced the raging seas. Of the anchor held, in spite of the storm. The song uses a metaphor of an anchor to describe the security and stability that God provides, that this team provided for uncertain times. You know, during this election campaign, we have been through some things. We have been through the wildfires and the flooding and the casualties that caused. One of the things that I saw with this team was the sincerity, was the heartbrokenness for these things that were happening. Sometimes politicians get a bad rap, you know. Or sometimes people think that we are not human, that we have no feelings, that we don't care. But we do care. We care a lot about and for the people that we serve. I am thankful for this opportunity to serve the constituents of my home riding of Preston as their income. Many of you spent hundreds of hours contributing to this campaign, and I sincerely thank each of you. You see, the essence of great leadership is influencing, not authority. I look forward to working with you as a team to advance the issues of importance to our community. To the other candidates from the other parties who ran in this by-election: Anthony Edwards of the Green Party, Coulter Simmons, the NDP Party, Carlo Simmons, the Liberals, and Bobby Taylor from Nova Scotia United. I want to thank them for participating in the democratic process. this evening. Thank you for believing all the way through every hill, through every valley, and through every obstacle. With your help and support, I resolve to work for a better future for Preston. It's time to get to work now. I am Twilight Rose, your Preston MLA. And your voice for Preston. Thank you, and God
to our family. You were the right choice, and the people saw it. Congratulations. I was so impressed the first night we met. We set up a meeting after we talked to Paula for a little bit. I was so impressed the first night. She came with a file folder. She had the poll-by-poll results from the last couple elections. And I said, we got the right person. And over the last 6 weeks in particular, the time we've spent together in campaigns are stressful. There's lots of highs and lows in campaigns. And spending time with you, I knew more and more each day, this is the right person to represent the people of Preston in the legislature. Your integrity, it shone through in incredible ways under stressful situations. Your intelligence is obvious to every single one of us. Your passion for this constituency, but for Nova Scotia, is so obvious. And the fact that she's an accountant, that don't hurt either, folks. You have the heart. That's what matters. Your heart is what really matters. We're so proud for you to join our family. You are going to be a wonderful MLA in the Nova Scotia legislature. We did again what they said couldn't be done. I think they said it couldn't be done. This is a 20-year Liberal seat. We have the right candidate, and that's what happens when you have the right candidate, and that's what happens when you add in the right team around the right candidate. And I do want to say thank you to Barbara, who we asked to step up, and she went all in on this campaign, as she does. And Paula, I don't know where Paula is. Where's Paula? Paula, thank you so much. Sean, where's Sean? Sean's still up there running numbers?
Working in the next campaign.
He's working on it. No doubt for sure. The effort from Sean and Paula and Steve and Cheryl, the rest of the Steve was putting signs together pretty early on and pretty late in this campaign. So thank you to that team. I really can't say enough. Our caucus, wow. Thank you, our caucus. Our caucus stepped up in big ways. and the time that they invested in the heart of the summer, at their own constituency business. They came here time and time again because they believed in youth lotto, and they believed in what we were doing here, and they dedicated their time. I want to thank our caucus for really stepping up here. The team that we have in the party office, in my office as well, their evenings, their weekends. Thank you to the staff and team for really. The party stepped up across the whole province, constituency after constituency. Stepped up to support in many ways. I want to thank the party for getting behind this by-election in such a big way. And of course, nothing happens without our families. The Twila's family. If I understand correctly, we might be a Family Reunion this weekend. Because when we talked early on, I asked Paula, was there any dates that didn't work for you? And she had a couple family dates. And we worked around it. But thank you. Now you're part of our PC family as well. To my own family, to my wife, Carol. I love you, Carol. Thank you for supporting me through this process and for supporting all of us. Paget was over here quite a few days talking to us. So I want to thank them. I know it takes, it's a big family commitment, politics, and I'm forever grateful for your support. We thank you. I love you. I love you very much. What I would say is, in closing, together, all of those groups, we got it done. For the people of the Preston constituency, you've done good. You got an excellent What I learned in this campaign, what we heard time and time again, and the message that people should take away from this, from door after door, talking to Nova Scotian after Nova Scotian, what I learned is good government matters. Door after door after door, they told me, we see the needle moving on healthcare. We see what you're doing. We believe in what you're doing, and we will fix healthcare in this province. The Nova Scotians see it happening. And door after door after door, they said to me, thank you. Your government is picking up files and dealing with stuff that nobody else will deal with. And we will continue to pick up files and deal with them. And we'll do it with one more member. Thank Nova Scotians for getting behind our party again, and I tell them we will put everything we have into it. We will work hard to not disappoint them on the issues that matter to them. We're giving this everything we have to make Nova Scotia a better place for every single person, no matter where they live in this province. And I want to say to people, if you keep supporting the PC party, we will keep supporting you.
Okay, well, we're back. We're just seeing a very happy candidate and
A happy winner.
and a very happy premier. Let's talk to the panel. What do you think?
I am so happy for Twyla. I'm so happy with them finally back after 20 years of being in the wilderness with the Liberal Party. We're back
Hey,
with the Conservatives.
pretty great
Preston's back.
wilderness, eh?
Preston is back with the Conservatives, and I think Twyla's going to be a great cabinet minister. we have lots of work to do in the next 2 years before the general election in 2025, but congratulations to Twyla. Congratulations to all the candidates that ran. There was 5 candidates, you know. You only have one winner, and I think Twyla was head above shoulders above everyone, and I think that she's going to work hard for their respect and their vote for next time around. Congratulations, Twyla.
I can't disagree. My congratulations with her, and I think she will be an added plus to the present government and to the House of Assembly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to say?
Congratulations. I mean, you have to congratulate the hard work that this woman did with her team on her own, with no extras thrown in there to give it a little push. But she did the job. So congratulations. And of course, congratulations to the others as well. You know, Carlos did a good job, and CC did a fabulous job as well. So thank you.
Good showing by everybody, quite frankly.
Good.
Yep.
Hard
Yeah.
work. Hard work.
With one poll outstanding, we're waiting to see where that's from, but
That one poll.
we should be probably hitting over,
Now the
hopefully
work
over
starts.
38%, so,
Now the work starts.
That's a good turnout. That's a good
Yeah.
voter turnout.
for
Yeah,
a by-election.
it's good to see the community moving
on the-
forward. Yeah.
In spite of the
Last-
good weather.
With the one poll left,
Oh, that's what
she's got almost 47% of the vote. So she did this is a very strong showing.
That's a strong showing.
I think.
Yeah.
Even stronger than
And
Angela's.
it's tough campaigning this time of year, eh?
Oh, yeah.
With the rain and the heat and the people on vacation and anything that can go wrong,
Could go wrong. and,
went wrong.
Well, people were
But now-
excited about this riding, you know, there's no doubt about it. You know, all the parties were excited about this riding, you know, and that should tell us
Like a
something.
new baby.
That's right, you know, even the other folks that ran, you know, I mean, people are excited, so think about what that would mean in terms of development.
It means that people are voting,
That's right.
you know,
The biggest thing is to stay engaged, you know,
People
not
are
just.
voting.
that's right, not just for this
The
time.
people need to stay engaged in the topics, be engaged with their politicians at all levels of government, be it municipal, provincial, or federal. I think it's important to have that a connection with the elected officials. But now with Twyla, it's going to be great to work with her. You know, it was great that she was my official agent when I was the MLA. So I have a great relationship with Twyla, and I'm looking forward to working with her in her new role as the MLA and future cabinet minister.
Well, there was one point at the first candidate forum in East Preston, sort of halfway through, she started answering a question, and by the time she was done, the barn was burning, and Coulter had to go next, and he got up and he said, "This is a hell of an act to follow." So I think that he had a little sense of this was going to be a tough opponent.
And he did quite well.
Did very well.
Coulter
You know,
did second,
it's
came
second
second.
time out.
Second
Yeah.
time running, very, very new at first time,
Right.
knew practically nothing. I'm very impressed with where he came. Yeah,
Well, I think you have to admire, we all know that campaigning is very tough
yeah,
work.
it is. Yeah.
And you have to admire somebody who went around the track once,
And then twice.
didn't
We
win.
have the premier ready to
I ran
interview.
3 times
Oh,
before I
okay,
went.
we're going to be able to talk to the premier here.
You run 3 times?
Yep.
Okay,
went for the
you're
leadership.
good to go?
Can you hear them? Oh, sorry. I may have turned the volume down.
I don't know if you can see me or not, but
You hear anything at all?
can you hear me, Tim? No, that didn't work.
He can hear you.
Oh, he can hear me.
Go ahead.
We had the video feed, we lost the video
We
feed.
lost the video feed, but
Sorry, just to confirm, you can't hear anything at all? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's all right, it's all right.
Just give us 1 second and we'll get that fixed.
okay. Hang on, we'll be right back. We're going to get the premier on here.
Yeah, they had the audio, but it lost the video.
Right.
Interesting. We still getting questions there? Online? Interesting.
Yeah, well, we just got one. Is she going to be a minister? So
I think it's a given.
we'll put him on the spot.
Yeah, if,
Yeah,
Right
should be
away.
a minister of something, for
yeah,
sure.
the premier wouldn't,
Communities, culture, and heritage.
he would never sidestep that one.
I think,
Yeah.
Give us something bigger than that.
Yeah, Minister of Finance.
Yeah, something substantial.
Just
Deputy
give me 1
Premier.
sec. I
Yeah,
think it's,
that's a good
A
one.
bus issue. So
Just being a rookie, now, actually, when we get that
Hey.
far, but we'll see what
Why
happens.
not? Why not?
Hey, what's the name of the deputy, was a rookie? Federal deputy premier.
All right.
He named
Still
his
working on getting the premiere online here. And well, here's the panel.
in anticipation.
Yes.
Now we just gotta wait for the final election results to be affirmed by the election.
It's a
Scotia
rocker
is, what, a
on
week or
the
two
right
away
side.
with the actual affirming of the vote?
It's a rocker
And
along
then after
the
that,
right side of the laptop.
affirmation's been complete, then there'll be a swearing-in ceremony for Twyla. I'm not sure where they're gonna
There's a
have it,
rocker
maybe at the
on the,
legislature.
right
It'd
side
be
of
awesome
the
to have it here at the Black Cultural
It
Center.
would be,
But,
right,
the right side.
so we
in her
gotta
birthplace.
find out
Yep.
where she's gonna get sworn in at.
Where'd you have yours at?
It'd be nice to see her
sworn
get
in.
sworn in her own
Yeah, where'd you
backyard
have
here in
yours
Cherry
at?
Brook.
Yeah,
Legislature, right? Sworn in?
World Trade
Okay.
Center.
I mean,
It's
World
telling
Trade,
me
yeah,
that
'cause
it's
you guys
sending
were
you
in
master
government
audio.
then, Yeah.
I remember getting sworn in, I was at the Red Chambers in
Can
the
you
province.
adjust the
my swearing.
audio
We
for
did
the
the World Trade
taskbar?
Center.
Yeah, we
Like we
were
had
Still
in-
having
we
a
were in
little
opposition
technical
each
We
time,
had that
so.
whopping majority.
adjustments
And
for
that one
the
last poll,
audio feed here.
Okay.
that last time, it drives you crazy. But then we knew where they were coming from, but here you don't know where they are.
Might have to run a cable across the highway to get.
Yeah, I know.
Hard wire.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Everything was going so well from over there. But
Did the battery die in the camera?
I don't know what happened. There's some,
Always take something small. Eh? It's never major, it's always something small.
oh, yeah, yeah. Well, we were doing great there for a little while, so. All right.
So what was the latest question that came in from the listeners?
Is she going to be a minister? So, it's a good question.
I believe so, and I'm just trying to think of what different portfolios, the obvious one would be African Nova Scotia Affairs. I'm thinking maybe the status of women, but I really love to see maybe community cultures and heritage might be a great one for her to be in.
We want to see her in finance.
But I also love to see probably natural resources. And, because constituency is
That
blessed.
would be good too, yeah, natural resources,
Well,
yeah.
we're
Who
going
had
to
that?
deal
who
with
had that?
this
Keith Cole had
construction and demolition dump. That
He
would
had
be a
fishery.
good position for her to be
Forever.
in.
Agriculture.
Oh, yeah,
Forever.
thank you.
Or maybe transportation. What about transportation?
Well, the constituency, she doesn't have any, the only provincial project she would have in her constituency would be the Cherry Brook bypass and the extension of the 107 highway from Burnside into Port Wallace, because the rest of the constituency of Preston is now maintained by the municipality. So therefore, she doesn't have really any provincial issues
No.
for highway matters
muscle
except
to
for
work
Cherry Brook
with.
bypass.
What?
She'd have no muscle to work with in transportation.
We didn't really talk about what the advantage of the province turning all these roads over
Cost.
to HRM was supposed to be.
Costs.
It's cost.
Yeah.
It's a downloading of the
all about
the
dollars.
province,
Yeah.
downloading the municipalities. It's an issue right across the province with a lot of the other rural municipalities as well as villages. They're looking at transferring more of those provincial roads down onto the municipalities, and the question is how the municipalities are going to handle it. It's going to be a broaden of the tax base. The latest territory we took over added $10 million to our operational budget line, just for the maintenance of, not just the Preston and Lake Echo Mineville area, but also the Humber Park, not Humber Park, but the Hubbards and St. Marcus Bay area, so it's significant.
But you said this
Thing
has
is-
been going on for a long time. Is that this offloading of provincial roads
Well,
onto?
it goes back and forth depending on how the economy is.
Uh-huh,
Quite frankly, we boil it all down, that's what it comes down to.
okay.
Yeah, where can we shift some money so we can have more income to spend
Right,
and vice versa. And they have these deals, a trade-off,
okay. So what's the latest that the next general election would be in 2025?
25.
July 2025, I believe they have a fixed election date now.
July, it's going to be a summer election?
Remember the big, all of us for that?
Yeah.
Everybody says summertime.
Yeah.
Summertime, yeah.
But it's after Canada Day, but
Well,
before Natal Day. so
Summertime
it's-
is when you can get elections.
Uh-huh.
You get away with, well, everything. And it's when most people are.
It's a bit noisy over there, so we're seeing what we can do
Okay.
about getting a set of headphones,
Those who
so
complain
bear
and
with me.
protest
Okay,
Tend not to be active in the hot sunny July.
right. Right.
And those protesting students are gone home on summer leave.
It's true.
Been around the block, I've seen the
Yeah.
few of the exchanges. Yeah.
When you were going door to door, were like mosquitoes or black flies ever bad enough that you wished you weren't out there?
Oh,
I didn't try this one because David was doing the doors and
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was not too bad, because we probably had, the day I was out door knocking with Twyla, we probably had the best weather ever. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too humid, it was just enough breeze in the air to keep the mosquitoes away, so it was a nice campaign day.
we had very few black flies this year.
I know. Well, not where we were either.
And
Well, all the polls are now in,
Yes, all right.
we completed.
so we have,
So,
Is that them
that was
again?
an odd. I'm getting a,
What do we
Echo.
have?
That's the Lake Echo influence.
yeah, and that's the far end of the riding, yeah. But all 29 polls are now in with a 38.79%. We almost cracked 39% of a voter turnout.
That's pretty
It's
good.
good, yeah.
Well, round it up, it's 39%.
What's the final numbers?
which if you want to be really generous, you would round to 40. So,
And Twyla ended up with 45, just over 45% of the ballot, of the votes, so
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
very, very impressive.
Actually, CC did well, 1,144
So
votes.
he got, yeah, second. Good for him.
1145,
Very
yeah.
good for him.
Carlo broke the 1,000 barrier, he did
Yeah.
1,021.
Good.
Bobby Taylor at 95, and the Green Party with Anthony Edmonds, 101, so. So the Green Party
Very,
didn't finish
very,
last.
very interesting.
No.
Well, I'm really not surprised.
But I was
One
curious to
right.
see there's 29
One right.
rejected ballots and 2 declined ballots, so I just kind of wonder how
29?
they're probably ballot.
29, that's,
That's a lot.
I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah? To me, it seems
I
like a
don't
lot.
think there's going to be a recount required in this by-election, so those 29 votes won't matter too much.
no.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, we're still working on getting our technical
Yeah.
set up so we can talk with the premier across the street. I think what somebody said earlier, I mean, we probably should have just picked up and walked over there ourselves. So,
Yeah.
the,
Some people couldn't.
I think
said
people
they
are
couldn't
not
get on the
familiar
link.
with the sign removal
Some people
requirement.
couldn't
How
get in
fast do you have to
the
get
link,
rid of the
right?
signs? Do you have to be
They
going?
have up to 2 weeks, I believe, to do it. But
My
you'll
daughter says she
you'll
couldn't get
find
in.
that they got a system down, they got them all located by a database, and they'll be around pretty quick to get them down, so. But the biggest thing I was proud to see, there wasn't too much damage to signs this time. We've had the issues in the past of vandalism and stuff,
Well,
but.
the heavy rain took some down
Well,
there.
the heavy wind and heavy rain, so it could probably do most of the damage, but nothing.
But no vandalism.
No vandalism, just the bad weather, so.
And that's a change, quite frankly, because I know I had problems with vandals, and I think everybody did over the years, so.
People taking your signs down
Yeah.
or defacing them. There's also the designing signs so you can use them for another election.
Oh, yeah, that's important. Yeah. Provided your mind's made to run again, of course.
Right.
And I think with the expensive signs, you want to run again.
Right.
Well, there's been some campaigns that they're not using signs at all, they're making the pitch of,
Well, I guess the mayor of Toronto proved that one, didn't she?
did that, and I think,
Olivia Child.
Did you win without
Or
signs?
what's the name?
Olivia Chow, yeah?
Yeah.
I think Mike Savage last provincial municipal election also decided to
That's
go
right.
away with lawn signs. And,
I forgot that, that's right.
but he had the big billboards and they had the ads and stuff and the mail-outs and stuff. So
Yeah.
there's other ways to campaign besides. But I think that in rural areas, sign is always an easy way to campaign. And like I've been recycling my signs now for 10 elections.
That's the truth.
I've seen them up close. But also, voters are often very unhappy if you tell them you can't have a yard sign. They don't like that.
I had those.
They want
And
them.
to me, that was a surprise to my first election, especially provincial one. Said, no one's asking for a sign. Why don't I have a sign? Oh, excuse me, we'll get you a sign. But yeah, I don't know if that's still the same or if it's weaning any, but when I read the fact that Olivia Chow, who did the by-election in Toronto, won the mayoralty.
With no signs.
With very few signs.
Huh.
And it was an environmental consciousness on her and her campaign's part.
Okay.
If you don't want to pollute, why pollute with election signs?
Right.
But it may be a while to do that in rural Canada. Metropolitan regions easier than the rural area.
Now, also, some people send out really well carpentered signs that will stand up to anything.
Yeah, the wire mounts. Yeah, I think they're way ahead of the wooden frames.
But I still think campaigns are still run on the ground with literature and stuff. I think Canada Post enjoys it the most, the money, and of course, Eastern Shore Cooperator loves to have the additional ad revenue for the candidates, and so it helps it that way. But I think that the local newspapers are still an important medium to maintain and support. And I think that's why I hope Twyla would take a permanent ad out in the paper like the other MLA does.
Yes,
So
that would be very nice.
Are we still on?
That would be very nice.
So we're still trying to get the
Russell knows
across the street.
I think,
You got a thumbs up coming.
Thumbs up coming.
okay. I think we're going to hear from the Premier at last.
So exciting.
What are we going to do? Okay. Hi, it's Richard Bell speaking.
Hi, Richard. It's Premier Houston here.
How are you tonight?
Very, very happy tonight. It was certainly an intense campaign, but I'm really pleased with the results. And the people of Preston have put their faith and confidence in Twyla and the PC party, and I couldn't be more honored by that.
That's great. How much door-to-door knocking did you do with her?
I did quite a bit with her. I mean, from the first time I met her, I was just really impressed with her as a person, and just as a quality of her integrity, her background as an accountant, her career, and just her community involvement. So the very first time I met with her, I was quite taken by her, and then the more I got to know her, the more impressed I was with her. So I was happy to spend time over here knocking doors, talking to people in the constituency. As I always say, looking people in the eyes and hearing what they feel about our province and their community, what's good, what the challenges are, and having frank discussions, talking politics in a friendly manner. But and doing it on behalf of Twyla was a real privilege, and I'm just really pleased to do it.
Well, I saw in your remarks earlier, you were pretty pleased with turning a 20-year seat from the Liberals over to the PCs. It's quite an accomplishment.
I think it is, and I mean, I think that speaks for the quality of the candidate for in Twyla, but it also, in some measure, I think is a bit of a statement on our government for 2 years and how we're governing. And from in talking to people, sure, there's challenges in this province, no question about that. We have a lot of work to do on housing and in healthcare, but Nova Scotians were acknowledging that there is work being done. But things are starting to improve. They're seeing those green sprouts of hope. So I think those conversations were refreshing to me. But I just truly believe in my heart that the best candidate was elected tonight. He will be an excellent MLA and a great addition to our team in the legislature.
I had David Hendsbee here with us tonight, and he's been pumping very hard for you to give her a ministerial appointment. Yep. He's all ready for her to get into high gear here.
Yeah, so look, definitely a capable person. And what I really liked about her from our first discussions, when I talked about, what was possible for a role in government for her, she was always very clear with me from the get-go. Step number one, earn the trust and the respect of the voters or the constituency of Preston. And if they put their support in her, then go from there. So tonight, we've done that first step. They put their trust in Twyla, and I couldn't be more excited about that. And we'll have discussions going forward, but I have to tell you, this is one very, very capable person. I'm very impressed by her.
Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
We're looking forward to seeing what she does.
Yeah. So as am I. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Good night. All right. So that was a little bit of a technical patch to get that conversation to happen. Let's see if we can make this phone call go away. Well, as you can see, the premier was very happy with the results.
You didn't get a chance to talk to Twyla, eh?
Oh, I don't know. Were we going to get to talk to Twyla or not?
I was hoping.
Oh, they're working on it. Okay, so don't go away yet.
I mean, I can't go to the party?
I don't know. The rate at which they were looked like they were dismantling things pretty fast over there. I don't know.
Pack it up quick, but I know the campaign headquarters might be still open for a little while.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, he clearly was very pleased with the work that he did and the work that she did. She worked very hard. I think everybody.
She'd be the champion.
Everybody agreed. And going back to the campaign signs, it's the door-to-door thing that always strikes me, that nobody wins here unless they really, really knock on a lot of doors.
It's the people-to-people contact, eh?
That's what people are looking for. So I don't know how much campaign signs help, but I do know that going door-to-door is...
Well, the writing's not all that big. I mean, I did it 3 times when I ran. And I'm sure most of, or all of them probably did the same thing.
It's one of the smallest writings in the province.
It's the smallest, one of the smallest, so you can do it, you can walk it.
Right.
That many times, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I remember David's riding for the city is 200 kilometers, is that right?
Oh,
from one
about
side
that,
to the
yeah.
other?
It's a 2.5-hour drive from one end to the other.
Yeah.
So it starts right here.
You got a bigger riding than the provincial.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Right.
We have, 16 councillors for the 23 MLAs for the same Halifax regional territory, so.
Which is a lot of councillors.
Back in your day, it was 80 councillors.
Well, it wasn't quite 80 councillors.
The county council had 25, the town of Bedford, and then you had the Halifax and Dartmouth.
Yep.
So there was 80 politicians back then.
80?
Sackville, Bedford.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why
Really?
we amalgamated to save those dollars, eh?
Went from 80.
But I remember when I had a visit to Detroit City Hall. That was 79, 80. And there were 9 aldermen serving 1.5 million people. So I figured, man, we really overgoverned Nova Scotia.
Sure did. And maybe still, I don't know.
All right. I think we're going to get to talk to the candidate herself. Actually, not the candidate. She's the
winner.
MLA now.
MLA elect.
Yeah.
Elect.
The MLA elect.
Hello, Twyla.
Hi, Twyla. It's Richard Bell calling from across the street. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I can just barely hear you.
Okay. Well, we were watching you almost dancing up at the podium just now.
Oh, okay.
You were moving around up there.
Oh, for sure.
Congratulations.
So everyone here is sending their congratulations. We have Wayne and David and Yvonne are all here. They've been talking all night.
Thank you.
Okay. And David has been pumping hard for you to be a minister in the new government. So have you? We just talked to the minister. I mean, to the premier about making you a minister putting you to work right away. Can you hear me or
yeah,
not?
I can hear you. Like one of the things is I think it's very important for me to, get my feet wet, to get orientated, and then, we'll see and we'll take it from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember he mentioned the first meeting that you came to, you had a briefing book that was already filled out about looking at the previous elections, and that's when he thought he knew you were the right person.
Yes, that's true. Because you know something, I did my homework. I went back the history of the riding, looking at who was the representation of the riding with regards to which party was, and one of the things is the party was initially when the riding was initially developed, it was held by a liberal, and that was the Honorable Adams. After that, it was Yvonne Atwell and David Hendsbee, and after that, it was Keith Colwell for a period of 20 years. So recognizing that, I think that this was very important because, the Liberals had a stronghold on this riding for 20 years.
Right. So have you given any thought to where you would like your swearing in ceremony to be?
You know something, I haven't even, honestly, I haven't even thought about that. I'm really just trying to take everything in tonight, and what happened. I mean, it was awesome, and my team, we worked so very hard, and so I think the results that we see are really the fact that the team really worked so hard, and that, they believed in me, I believed in them, and together, we formed a very powerful team.
Do you know how many doors you knocked on during the campaign?
Oh my goodness. Do you know something? The team, we knocked on, 5,000, 6,000 doors. Do you realize that we covered one end of this riding to the other? And you know what? In some cases, we actually went back 2 and 3 times. We were very sure, very certain to knock on every door. It was very important for the constituents to see the candidate face to face and to be able to talk and engage with the candidate.
What do you think what's the most important thing that you think you learned on door knocking? What did you learn that you didn't know when you started out on this trail?
One of the things that I think that I became more aware of and learned after door knocking was that the folks in the Preston riding, they do know what's going on. They do have concerns. They are able to articulate, their concerns. And I think, they just want a better riding. They want to make sure that they're involved, in the process, in the planning, and in the progress of this great province of Nova Scotia.
Okay. So, I guess we'll just say good night with congratulations, and we
thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
We look forward to seeing you get to work.
Thank you so very much, and thank you for this interview, and thank you, for your coverage with regards to this election and your panelists. I think this is awesome, so I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, you have a good night now.
You too. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Okay. Bye.
There you go. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So
Okay, that's
That's a wrap.
a good way to wrap, huh?
there was our candidate. If, I don't know if we've gotten any more questions from viewers, but I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and especially thanks to our wonderful panel here. Learned a lot.
Thank you.
Well, I think we should thank you, the Eastern Shore Cooperator, and the Black Cultural Center here in Nova Scotia for hosting this panel discussion, as well as the by-election results. I think it's great to see grassroots coverage like this, and I hope it catches on in the next general election.
Well, we'll be here.
Your
so-
work helps democracy.
Thank you for the opportunity.
thank
It
you
was
very
good.
much.
Brought back some memories,
Keep
some good
democracy
ones,
alive.
and then some not so good ones, but
Yep.
it was
If,
good, yeah.
if people have any other
all
questions, they
winners,
can
in my
always
opinion.
email them
Yeah,
to us
of
at the
course,
Eastern
we
Shore
all
Cooperator, info@easternshorecooperator.ca, and we'll help out and track things down. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.